Yeah, I missed you too, Lorianne. All right, guys. Well, listen, did you miss Lorianne? Did you miss us? We missed you. Anyways, welcome. Welcome again to another episode of Contagious Leadership Podcast. You are in for a special treat today, okay? You are going to hear from one of LinkedIn's top influencers within this space of strategy and building your LinkedIn business profile, you name it. We're going to be right back in 30 seconds with the one and only Shanee. We'll be back.
That intro is intense.
Right?
I love it.
Just wait. It's about to get better. It's about to get better. So LinkedIn and their titles killing me. Like match it up with some of the other social profile. Like, you know, I had to like cut the episode off of this one so that it would post. But we are episode.
Oh yeah, so did I. I just cut the first couple paragraphs, I think.
It just drives me nuts. You hear that, LinkedIn? Fix this. Like seriously, match it up. Match it up with YouTube. Match it up with Facebook. Like that way we can do it all at the same time. Like it's so dumb. Anyways, I still love you. So we are going to be talking to Shanee. And by the way, Shanee, introduce yourself. I'm sorry. I know you.
I know, right? So hey, I'm Shanee Murray. I'm the founder of Growth Academy. And I create content and build community here on LinkedIn. So I'm just here to help Rigo however I can with LinkedIn marketing or personal brand stuff.
Love it. Love it. All right. So
excited to have you here.
Yeah, pretty simple, right? Shanee keeps it easy.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not gonna be like, I am the ultimate this and that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but now let's Shanee. Last time I checked, 1.2. What is the followers now?
Almost
what are you up
1.2. Yeah, almost 1.2.
1.2 million. So in the LinkedIn world, that takes some work, and one of the things I love about you is you did this from the ground up, and I want to take just a moment to talk about that. If you want to share a little bit of your story and why it mattered right here on LinkedIn. You're a single mom. There was a lot behind that story. You share what you want. Take 5 minutes and tell people the story of how you got there. And it didn't take a long time, but it took you getting off that fence, right? You just had to go do it. Go ahead, share a little bit with our audience.
Yeah. So it actually took me being given an ultimatum. Long story short, I was working a job, July 2018. My daughter would have to go to daycare, right? So I could get a secure paycheck. That's something, that's like a myth. But I would go to work. She would go to daycare. She got sick at daycare quite a few times, but this time especially, she was hospitalized for almost 2 weeks. And through that process, my boss at the time was like, hey, you need to come back to work. Leave her, I guess, in the hospital, and then, or you lose your job. So that's when I took an opportunity, Rigo, to basically become a freelancer, right? Like my first and only goal was to be able to replace my then income, which is very little, with just freelance writing clients, because I knew that I could do some copywriting and some marketing stuff. I was doing it at that company. So I was like, well, if I could do it for them, I could do it for me. And I could hopefully get some freelance clients. So I started Googling, just actually in the hospital at night while Liv was connected to the machines, and just how to get freelance writing clients online, how to write blogs and get paid online. And one of the articles brought me to LinkedIn. But her strategy was very different than what I do now, but it started, basically she was just get on LinkedIn, optimize your profile and connect and pitch everybody. it got me my first few clients, but it wasn't a process that I actually enjoyed, and it wasn't getting me the type of clients that I wanted. They weren't, when you earn someone's trust in advance, which is why I focus on inbound, the sales process is almost effortless, right? Because you've already earned their trust. They're not coming to you as a stranger. So around December 2018 is when I went into content. And I was like, listen, I don't know if this content thing is going to work for me. I kept seeing Gary Vee. I kept seeing a few people. And I was like, well, it could be like a scam. Maybe it won't work for me, but I'm going to try it. So I gave myself 30 days to just post content, video content every single day on LinkedIn. And basically within 60 days, my business completely changed. I went from 100% outbound to 100% inbound. And Rigo knows me, so he knows that I'm someone that follows results. And so when I was like, whoa, this content thing is made a huge difference, I doubled down, pedal to the metal. That's basically the story to where I am today.
and that was it.
And that was it.
And, one of the things that I find very, very interesting, and I love that we're a part of this today, is we've had quite a bit of practice watching what happens in social content, right? We've seen what happens in platforms like Facebook, and we've seen what's happened in YouTube and even Twitter and Instagram, and we've watched these change. And then here came this emerging giant TikTok that has absolutely changed the game. And LinkedIn during this whole process was this networking platform that I always found extremely interesting, but it always had this, this business kind of a concept, like, oh, you can't be creative there. And it almost like without, I think it's pretty funny, but like without the approval of the individual, companies started just assuming that they owned the behavior of employees in LinkedIn, right? They were like they would almost say, you're not allowed to post that, or you can't do this. It's like, well, you don't tell me what I do on my Facebook, right?
Right.
How did that happen? And I think that's changing very rapidly. And the large influencers out there that are showing this, that are creating business, they've been proclaiming this for quite a few years. And I think it's finally starting to take. And companies are realizing, especially after COVID, there's got to be a better way. And in the B2B space, I have always seen this massively as one of my greatest tools. It is by far the number one tool that I have used from day one to build up my business and build up my digital reputation right here in this space, especially as a small business owner who didn't have the funds to be able to fly all over the place. COVID hits, and then I realized, hey, I'm positioned just right. And so now it just became that passion where I want to get it out. But you've been doing this too with so many different types of businesses all over the world. And we talk about strategy. And when I said, Shanee, just to remind you what our conversation is going to be about, why your social media strategy isn't working. What was it that you said?
You don't have a strategy.
Right? That's it. Bingo. There is no strategy. And I agree. With your experience that you've been doing this and working with other influencers as well, other leaders in this space, because that's one of the things I love about you is you collaborate with so many other leaders in this space. And I think that's what makes this one different. We're all trying to support each other to get the word out, right? None of us are like, well, we're doing the same thing. We're not going to support each other. We're all supporting each other to help that entrepreneur, that solopreneur, that business leader, that marketing specialist break out of this mold and realize there's something here. What have you seen? The top issues where somebody's coming in and they think they have a strategy. What are some of the top areas you see where people make critical mistakes that is really putting them in a position where LinkedIn is not going to do what they think it is?
Yeah, I think that the number one thing is going into it only for money or only to get clients. Like it's very short-sighted, right? So I know someone's like not on the right track when they don't see that the ultimate currency of personal brand is trust, right? Like what you're doing is you're showing up to earn someone's trust over and over and over again. And so until they have that mindset, it's almost impossible to communicate with them because they're going off of a currency they're looking at money, but money is effortless when you earn people's trust. And so I think that also the second thing is thinking that quantity will somehow disrupt quality, right? Like there is a balance, but they don't want to do enough. And especially in the beginning, until you're known, you have to do more. It's like a plane coming off of the ground. To get that momentum rolling, you're going to have to go very, very consistent, especially in the first 90 days, to where people have seen you enough where when they see that piece of content, they're like, oh, I usually get good content from this person. I'm going to watch the next thing and the next thing. So I don't think they understand that it's also like training behavior. And if you're just not seen enough, that momentum will never go in your favor.
Okay, Shanee, I just got to stop you right there because you just said so much that
that was like 15
I hope that makes
nuggets.
sense. Like
Yeah,
I
that
know
was like-
I wanted to interrupt you, but everything that comes out of you.
She kept going, right? She kept going. I'm scrounging around for like a notepad. I was like,
Oh my God.
Okay,
You guys are funny.
let's just start with. You just talked about like the first 90 days. What I see in the online space and also just people that are coming into like build new businesses is, okay, I'm going to have a content strategy and I'm going to post once a day. And then maybe I'll post the next day. And you're talking about, well, what I was wondering is like what is it, like 90 days to go full force, but is that one post? Is that a video? Is that, multiple times? I mean, like what? Let's go a little deeper with what to do in those first 90 days.
Yeah, so it actually, just asking that question brings up the third mistake, which they believe that text posts are going to be enough. They highly underestimate video because it's inconvenient for them to do video, right? And it takes more energy, more preparation, and it's an operational process. Even if you're going to do one of these lives a week, you have to set it up operationally. What topics are you going to have? I mean, I know, Rigo, all the setup that you all do, right? So, and then to chop it up into small videos. So what they should do is to go heavy with video first, because basically you're doing the hardest thing first and you're accelerating trust because people will associate you with your expertise is more sticky, right? So the first 30 days should be one video a day. Then it's kind of like a compounding schedule. The next 30 days should be a video and a text post, or a video and a poll. And then the next 30 days, like the 60 to 90, they should be incorporating some form of live video or audio every week, because anyone can write a text post, anyone can do a video, but prove to me that you're authentic. Prove to me that you know what it is that you're talking about and answer me live, right? So that has to be incorporated to really differentiate if they want to win.
And I completely agree with this whole video. And there's so many people who are, I'll just like hide behind my text post. And it does take more effort. But I also tell people, like, look at your own behavior. Like,
exactly.
How much video are you consuming? And you think people are reading your post? I think like people are just fooling themselves. Don't you agree?
And I love that you just said that, because people will come to me and I'll be like, what influencer do you really admire? I love Gary Vee. I'm obsessed with Gary Vee. I love him. Well, how do you see Gary Vee? Oh, I watch his videos, right? And it's like, but you don't want to do video.
Yeah, and not only that, Gary Vee will admit that they have a ridiculous amount of content that gets dropped. They're putting out 10, 15 posts daily. You know what's funny? And if you want to test out how an influencer is doing, like, reverse engineer this. This is one of the things that I like to do. So let's put Gary Vee as an example. You see a piece of content from Gary Vee, go ahead and go back to his channel and try to find that piece of content as the last thing he posted. Good luck. You
It's
will
gonna be like 30 down.
Yes, and you'll see the consistency. Here's one of the other things I've noticed too, Shanee, is that the story stays the same. The content stays, the conversation stays, the authenticity of what they're saying. And people go, well, we've worked with clients who saw results and they said, but the executives are saying they're seeing the same thing over and over again. I go, yeah, that's the point. Like, you got results. Why do we want to change the conversation? We're continuing to put this in front of people. You don't change you don't change the story. You keep doing it over and over. And I think I've seen this as a mistake too, Shanee, and I'm curious if you have as well, where people think they do one post one time, they do one video, and that was it. And I'm like, post it again. Yeah, post it again. Change the title. Post it again. Cut it in bits. Like, post it again and again and again and again. They're like, well, what if somebody saw it? Like, great. Now you know who's following you. If someone says, I already saw this, which I doubt you'll see, you know what I mean? Then great. Now you have a fan. Say thanks. Ask them what, you know?
Say, Lorianne, I'm pretty sure I saw you post this over on Facebook and Instagram last week. Like,
okay.
No, yeah. And I would just be like, great, I'm glad that you're watching stuff. But I like to, one of the things that I like to do, and I'm curious on your take on this, Shanee, is that if I do create a written post, I will then instantly create it and change it into a video. I can, I'm the one who wrote it, so I'll actually just put the camera on and start recording and just say pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I tell people to maybe start with video is because if they're not doing a lot of video, they can take a text post and make it into a video, but their delivery, I feel like there's not enough talk about 5 people could have the same script. The delivery, the most authentic one that seems the most natural will win, right? Yeah. But that's hard to do if you only do it once a month.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's the practice.
It's Shanee, one of the things that I share with people, because they think oh, you were a professional speaker, so of course doing live, and creating videos is so easy for you. I have left my very first Facebook Live up on Facebook because I want people to go watch, and I tell people, go watch it. I was like this flat billboard, just talking very stiff, there's zero personality compared to the Lorianne who is showing up here right now. But that only comes with time.
Shanee loves, right? You love to remind everybody and yourself. She every now and then, if you're following Shanee, by the way, if you haven't already started, you should. But she'll bring it up every now and then, and it's funny because she's like, okay, so I'm gonna try this video thing or this live thing, and it's really neat to watch the progression, right? Shanee, we always joke about it. My first live, I sat on the back porch with a cigar and a glass of whiskey for 2 hours. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there and talked to myself, and it was really weird. 156 something episodes later, right. You start to find in the freezing cold, Donnie says. It was freezing. You find a voice. And I think here's something else, and I'm curious if you see this as an error as well. You see an influencer you like, say a Gary Vee, somebody like that. That's fine. A Shanee Moret. I want to do just like Shanee does. And the problem is I believe that there's nothing wrong with having someone's influence, but they try to go and be that person, right? They try to go be them instead of being themselves and not realizing that it takes time, and then you will find your voice. And I believe that a lot of people are trying to launch something with everything figured out versus getting out there, doing it, and letting the process tell them and show them who they're supposed to be from a creative personality. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, they try to, I was in a prospect call with someone, and he was actually referred to me, but he was like, well, I'm gonna go to basically like pre-create content that I know will be amazing. And I'm like, good luck, right? Because like you don't determine whether the content is amazing, the market does. And you won't know what the market really likes, especially I think that there's so many nuances to this. You may be really great at communicating sales versus communicating marketing. And because of that, people want more sales content from you, right? So then obviously it'll show in the data and you double down on that. You don't know what people are going to want from you unless you have consistent data. And this is also where consistency is so important. If you do one post a week, it's going to take you, 8 months to get 30 pieces of data versus 1 month if you post every day, where you know where the analytics will tell you which way to go, which way to double down, what you need to get rid of. I also think that in and of itself brings up another mistake, doing what you want to do versus what your community is telling you to do based on the data.
I love that. You guys, you remember that show, the Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay? It was funny. I was watching this the other day while I was, I just had it on the TV while I was cleaning the kitchen, funny enough. And one of the things that hit me, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and I'm glad you brought this up, Shanee, you see the chefs in there and the food's coming back. You know, there's plenty of issues, of course, with these restaurants, but they're like, they don't know good food. And I'm thinking, you know, it's so interesting because when we go into business to build our ego versus to be consumer centric versus to solve the problem for the consumer, there is nothing wrong with you having a vision as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, as anybody who's trying to create a solution for the market. But when you start to actually work with the market, you have to listen and be consumer centric to understand that the market will tell you where you need to tweak and change. And I laugh because these chefs are like, these people don't know good food. No, the market is telling you your food doesn't meet that market. It's not saying that it's good or bad. It's saying it's bad to them. So as business owners, as creators, you know, we have to understand how to shift. And we have to understand that in social contact, in a social selling space, how we operate and how we build trust, like you mentioned, video, is not the same way we do it when we're in a conference or when we're doing outbound strategies or getting collateral out. It's completely different. The strategy here is different. And I think a lot of companies make an error there. They think it's the same and they just copy and paste to the social platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this brings up another huge mistake they make is that they think that all of their content should be about what they sell, right? And again, you tell me you love Gary Vee, like I talk to a lot of them, right? So a usual name that comes up is Gary Vee. Yeah. How much of what Gary Vee posts is about what he sells?
Zero.
Probably like, I think like 10%, maybe.
I don't even know about that. I don't even think that.
Because, the wine, the community, I think it's probably about 10%. But yet they want to go into a strategy where 99% of what they post is only about what they sell. And it's like, it's incredible to me, again, going back to auditing your own behavior. Which big players do you trust online? Look at what they're doing. Look at what they post. Is it only about what they sell? The answer is most likely no. Why do you feel like you trust this person? Because I always tell people, like, they have to see themselves like a diamond with many facets, right? You're not just a person in business that sells this thing. Why did you do what it is that you're doing today? What are the values in your business? What do you do outside of business? Like, people will find a bridge to connect with you and stay sticky to you based on like emotionally driven things that may have nothing to do with what it is that you sell. I have people that I know that I'll do business with, but the initial content that got them on my radar had nothing to do with what it is that they sell. But same thing, they've earned my trust and I already have them. I mean, Rigo, you weren't there this morning, but there's someone, new client of mine, you know what she told me this morning? She said, I wrote down in my journal in May to contact you.
Really? It's interesting.
She's a client today, came with her assistant. And so I also, that brings up another mistake. They wanting immediate results. People need time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Patience.
There was, speaking of Gary Vee, there was, I sent this to my team internally. I'm going to pull it up here real quick. Many of you are worrying about your years while wasting your days. You can't expect 30 years of results from 30 minutes of work. You need to move fast, but understand that your vision takes time. That was actually a Gary Vee post, and I was like, it's beautiful. Because
Exactly.
it's interesting. People will look at that and they go, oh, it's always instant results. Go look at anybody in any business. Go look at what they've done. There's a story. But if you even look deeper, there are years in that story. Nobody just makes it, but you have to start the process to get it going. You must move and start creating the habit, the routine, and like you said, building the consistency. So I want to switch over here to another question that I think is super important. How critical is personal brand building for individuals in any setting? I don't care if they're in a large corporate group and their job is business development or sales versus a solopreneur or entrepreneur, which I think a lot of times these people, it makes a little more sense. But how important is it for an individual to build a personal brand first in order to establish a better company reputation, like to strengthen their company brand?
I think that it's essential. I mean, so there's only like one instance I'd say that it's not, and it's a serial maybe entrepreneur that doesn't want to be in the limelight, that maybe invests in several different businesses. But even then, there should be a face to each of those businesses, because I help people strategize that too, right? It's like, hey, I own 15 businesses. I have a few that I think would be really like accelerate with social media. And my first question is, are the founders willing to show up in content? Because there still should be a face. And so I think it's just, again, auditing our behavior. People connect with people. There are so many private equity, even investors now that are blowing up on TikTok, right? And getting business and getting attention and earning trust because of it. I just interviewed one the other day, and it's like a private equity owner, like doing social media. That's like unheard of, right? So I think it's essential. And I think that if you're not doing it, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, even if your business doesn't rely on it.
And we are constantly talking about personal brand on this show.
It just, to me, I can't stress it enough.
Right.
I can't stress it enough. And it's one of the things that, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that not everybody understands it, because it gives us an opportunity to create a value, right? But we've come to find that there are two massive elements when it comes to social content and when it comes to the creative. And that is entertain or educate. It's that simple. Sometimes you can do them both, but entertain and educate. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a call to action as well. There's nothing wrong with a call to action that says, hey, I can help you in these areas, as well. But what's going to happen is I want to first make sure you understand that I'm willing to give you value before I ask for your business or for an opportunity. Oddly enough, Shanee, I did a test run for a while, and I tried out a couple different methods of going about it. And I said, I wonder if the individual on the other side would be willing to listen to a business pitch first and then get free training, free information, free content. And as many times as I tried it, they don't want to do that first. And it's like, promise 5 minutes, get the pitch, 55 minutes, free content. And it's crazy. They don't want to do it. Again, you come and realize how to speak to your audience. Okay. Yeah. To me, I would rather just get it out of the way. But you don't want to do that. You want me to wait to the end to pitch you? Fine. Right? I can do that. But entertain, educate. And when you do that, you create, like you said, trust, you build your brand, and then people want to understand what you can do to help them or pass you to somebody else, but they start to feel like they're getting to know you. And I think that's important. And yeah, Lorianne, we're constantly harping on that because I watch a lot of my peers, out there, and they're just reposting like a corporate post, which already drives me nuts because I'm like, boring. Like the posts are already like not engaging, And I'm thinking you're missing an opportunity here to really start to get people to understand you. And in the end, we know this, right? People don't buy your product, they buy you first. So if you're in sales, they're going to buy you. Plain and simple, they buy you. And I think a lot of times people are like, well, social media is okay, but I'm old school. I like to be in front of the customer. You're right in front of millions right here. There's nothing different. You can establish the same brand right here. Anyways, I'm getting on my soapbox. To me, you can do so much here, and it just drives me nuts. And sometimes you got to break through this barrier where people think that this is, Facebook, where they're sharing photos with their grandma. It's like, no, you guys, it's like going to a conference. They're right here.
So one thing, Rigo, I think that there's enough people that are ready to start. Like for me, my energy is just better served focusing on them. Like I'd rather focus on the people who have already gone through all of those mental barriers and are ready to start versus someone who I have to convince about like the value of social media at this point. And the only reason that they may not see the value, they definitely will. The first competitor that takes it serious, the first like big personal brand in their space. Let's say like, I don't know, I follow somebody on social and he's in like solar, so all this person does is like install solar panels, answer questions, share funny things, and he's built this whole huge personal brand. I mean, he's booked out for like through 2024 just because of what he's built and because what other person is building a personal brand around solar panels? There's no competition. So they will start to understand the dangers of not doing it when their competitors start to take the market.
It'll be too late.
So can we go back to Shanee? You have mentioned several times.
It was like, whatever.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
I love that. I'm sorry. That face was like, yeah, whatever. Like
I know he has that great shoulder look.
Yeah. It was all right there. Like everything was right there. Like if you wanted to know exactly what she was thinking, it was right there. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, Lori.
I know I got questions about the solar.
Go, girl. It's all you.
You've mentioned several times about auditing our own behavior, which I think people really do skip over. They just think, well, I have to appear a certain way on social, if I'm going to do video, the type of text, just like you said earlier, like we're constantly like focusing on selling our product instead of building our own personal brand. So when you have a client, and also just to share with our audience about auditing your behavior, like how do you guide people in like looking at their own behavior so that we can all like take away and learn from this? Because I know I am.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, who's taking your time, right? Like, who are you giving your time to when you grab your phone? And it could be like on different channels. Like, hey, when I get on LinkedIn, I see Rigo's live and I watch the live, because people have different styles and preferences of learning as well, right? Or, in the morning when I go on Clubhouse, I listen to an hour audio room, and I would just tell them to audit where they're spending a lot of their time once they grab their phone, because those are not coincidences. And then it's also auditing, okay, if you've done any business with people online, how did they initially get your attention? What made you trust them? And it's just reverse kind of looking at behavior. I share this example often, but it's just indicative of what we're talking about. I needed a family photographer, and this woman had posted several weeks in a row right in front of me, sharing photo shoots that she's done, sharing, hey, moo photo shoot coming up. Oh, she'll share all the kids, she'll share all the videos. And over time, just every time I would scroll onto, this was on Facebook, and I never enter Facebook except for Facebook Marketplace. But every time I would scroll, it's like, here she is. So when I needed a family photographer, I'm like, oh, I'm going to reach out to this person. So it's like, I don't think that people understand that personal brand is really a process and gaining market share in people's minds to associate you with your expertise, so that when they need or want what you sell, they reach out to you. And that's how you go from like being one out of many to one out of one, or being at least the first person that they give the opportunity to.
Right. Right. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because I do think if we just took the time to look at how we buy things, we would learn so much about, like, here's the type of content that I should be putting out. And I've been doing recently some ideal client interviews, and I'm fascinated because, like, I teach people how to use speaking as their best form of marketing. And a lot of people, they only think speaking is a stage or Zoom. So I'll ask them, what was the last big program that you bought, or group program, group coaching, mastermind, and they'll tell me. It's like, okay, so how did you learn of that person? And usually it's, oh, a friend referred me. Great. And then how did you get it? Oh, she or he did a live masterclass. And then I raised my hand and bought in. So there's like this, it's about building that know, like, and trust in people.
100%.
Like, however we're going to do that. But definitely, I want to encourage everybody, like, get on video.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
No, it's not.
It's not. No, absolutely not. The other thing too is don't stop. Be consistent. Like Shanee said right in the beginning, you guys, your job is to be consistent with your message over and over again. Be consistent with showing up. Not about the like, don't get distracted by the tools required versus the results that you get at the end. When you just get started, your content may not be that interesting. Your video may not look that good. And here's the reality. Nobody cares but you. Like, I'm just throwing that out there, right, Shanee?
Yeah, it's true.
Nobody cares but you. I promise you that, because I have to remind myself all the time as well. We create creative content. That's what my company does. We do this. We offset the creative for businesses. I get stuck in that too. Like, nobody cares but me. And I can get stuck in that perfectionism. Just get content out there. And what happens is that consistency will start to do the job. And when you do this all the time, everybody has a different position in where that relationship is, right? At some point, they might be in the grabbing attention. The other piece, they might be starting to trust you, and now they're becoming captured. And the other side of it now may be moving into that element where they want to close an opportunity with you. And then the fourth set that I always try to tell people is, don't forget, you also have to continue to foster loyalty. And how do you do that? By being consistent and being consistent with your message and always trying to continue to bring more value, right? Don't change the flow. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep coming back. Your market will fall into their place when they're ready. That's the other thing too. I think everyone's trying to go close it right away. Like, let the market close on their own. Like you said, Shanee, I love what you said earlier.
I want to add something. So for those of you who are like, I would just ask you this question. Like, do you think your business would do better or worse with an email list of 20,000 to 100,000 contacts that came to you inbound? And if the answer is, well, of course, Shanee, my business would do better with an email list of 20 to 100,000 right? Inbound contacts, then how do you think you're going to get those contacts? And this is where people don't understand like the entire strategies, like LinkedIn and posting on LinkedIn. It should build something like a list. And that in and of itself, the data in and of itself increases the value of your business. And should any type of social media disappear off the face of this earth, now you're able to contact thousands and thousands of prospects outside of social.
I hope you guys heard that. So
I know heard it too.
Yeah, because there was no sugarcoating that.
So, all right, I'm asking, and I'll do this here vocally, but if you guys have questions, now's the time to get into it. It is about 18 minutes to the hour when we're going to be wrapping this up. So I want to give you guys opportunity to start throwing some stuff out there, and let's get some of these questions answered. So here's the first one. Shanee, what is a LinkedIn tool that'll build your personal brand that isn't live content or polls or the usual?
Or the usual. I think LinkedIn, I'll give you two answers. It's LinkedIn newsletters or doing private webinars off of LinkedIn, where you could go a step deeper. And even for the people that don't buy, there's so many that will now put you in the back of their mind. It's like, whoa, that was the best masterclass I've ever been to. Like, this person's a true expert. So I have people that have been to my masterclass that maybe didn't buy, but then they referred like 3 to 5 other people to go just because they were impressed with the information. So I think that that's something that's really important. I feel like people just think like, oh, just it's only LinkedIn. No, the point of LinkedIn is to get people off of LinkedIn. Yeah. Hello?
Yes. That's I don't even want to get into that. I'm like, why are you selling in a DM? Get them off. Like, yes. So that's when I realized, oh my God, you need sales training. Anyways, but
yeah, that's a whole. We could schedule a whole other live on just sales after.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, Here's Roy. Come on, Lorianne.
Roy who?
The last name, big speaker, really like him.
Rory
Vaden. Thank you. Donnie's all posting up Vaden. I love what he says. He says, social media like this, it's a digitization of your reputation. And I love how he says that. And so you guys got to remember that. So if you're thinking about this and you understand that your reputation matters in business, your reputation is key. If you don't have a good reputation, people aren't going to call you. I don't care how good your product is. They don't want to work with you. They may buy your product, but they're going to buy from somebody else. Or they may not buy at all because they don't like the company's choice of individuals. But your reputation matters. Here, you're afraid to make a move because you think, I don't want to do something wrong because of my reputation. Well, you're looking at it the wrong way. That's exactly why you want to post, because this is a digitization of your reputation, which means do the same thing, create your persona here, let people get to know what you want to share. You can be as private or not as private as you want to be, but let people get to know who you are authentically, and you start to create your digital brand. And then that helps establish and get people off of the damn LinkedIn. Like I said, it's any social platform. You're absolutely right, Shanee. Going back to your comment earlier, it's about getting information, getting contact details, getting leads and pulling them off. So then now you have organic inbound leads that came to you. You didn't go to them.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that people underestimate with personal brand is you're going to, by default, enjoy your business a lot more when you attract clients that you really enjoy working with, where your morals and your values align. And if you have a clear strategy for your personal brand and you're authentic in your strategy, you'll just naturally attract people that align with your morals and values, and you'll just enjoy your business 10 to 100 times more. When you enjoy your business, you're much more likely to do the activities that will lead to you becoming successful in your business versus entering and being like, today I have to do cold calls, or today I have to work with these clients that I don't enjoy working with. And so I think that that in and of itself is such a competitive advantage, because it's just, at the end of the day, business is about people. It's about you serving a client. And when you enjoy serving that client 100 times more, it just also becomes almost effortless.
I love it. I love it. Lorianne, I'm going to give you some time here. I know you got plenty.
I do. Shanee, let's go back to when you first started.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm going to give myself X amount of time. And you just went right out there and started posting and putting content out there. I want to talk more about, could you talk about what you were thinking? Because I know a lot of people, the reason why they don't do any of this, they hear it and it's yeah, I know this, but they still don't do it because I think they're afraid of being judged.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's not even worry about the personal brand, but I'm afraid of what will people say? What will people say to me or think about my content and being judged? Can you just take me back to what you were thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't want to go back to another job, right? So for me, the building of my personal brand was I just saw it. I didn't even know what a personal brand was. I just said, hey, I do not like to cold DM people. I do not like to cold call people. And because I hate doing these things so much and I'm not that good at them, if I don't find something that can bring me clients, bring me business, then I'm not going to have a business. And I'm going to have to go back to a job. My daughter's going to have to go back to daycare. So it was very outside of my comfort zone because I'm an introvert 100%. So now I'm I have to get on video. And so that was my thing. I was I have to at least give it a try to see what could happen, or else I'm going to have to go back. And I was just willing to see what good could come out of it. And I think that within 10 days, I started to notice quite a difference in terms of, beforehand, I would always have to connect with people. I would always get rejected by people. Maybe 9 out of 100 connections would accept my request. And then it was pulling teeth to get them onto a consultation. I started to notice within less than 2 weeks that people started to want to connect with me. Hey, Shanee, I saw that video, would love to connect. Hey, I really appreciate what you said in your video. And I was whoa, there's something happening here. And that was the first indicator that things were changing, is just that change of tide of people connecting with me.
Oh, that's brilliant. Because what I'm hearing you say is, even though you were an introvert, because a lot of people want to use that as an excuse, and I'm a reformed, painfully shy girl myself, and you just got out there and let me just do this. So I hear a lot of self-integrity. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to show up on video. And not only did you have the positive reinforcement of the messages coming in, analytics changing, inbound leads, but you taught your nervous system how to do something different, so that all of a sudden, there's that day that hopping on a video is easy. And that's what I want so many people to realize, is that for people like you and me, it wasn't easy at first. It was just all right,
no.
this is something that I'm just gonna try and do.
Yeah, and I think that I was just humble enough to not try to reinvent the wheel. It was very self-evident. I looked at huge people like Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or Gary Vee. I had learned about all those people on video. And I wanted to get to a place in my business where I wasn't just getting clients. I was getting clients through outbound. I wanted clients to actually be excited to want to work with me, to happily pay me, because that's a totally different experience. And the proof was in the pudding everywhere I looked. You have to share, you have to do this social media thing, you have to get visible. And I knew that I wasn't. So I was willing to just see what would happen if I did.
Yeah, good for you. That's brilliant. Wait, and what a great story for everybody just to hear that you just start somewhere. Everybody, like Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, like everybody had their first video.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like come out and just be like, all right, like I've got thousands of videos. It all starts with creating your very first video.
It does.
And you know, sorry, I had it muted to clear my throat. I did it the wrong way. Anyways, the point is live, right? It's what I love about live. You know, if you're a person that is within a sales team that is maybe a large or medium or small corporate type group, you please understand something. If you think that this content, if you don't think, let me say that correctly, if you don't think that any of this does not apply to you, please seriously reconsider how you're looking at this. Building your brand, getting out there, creating content, sharing things for your market. This doesn't matter whether you're a part of a 5,000 person organization or if you are part of a 5-person organization. If you don't believe me, I will give you one name and look at what this one person has the power to do with just one tweet. His name is Elon Musk, who has done an incredible job at building personal brand, although he creates over and over again, company after company with tons of different controversy or not. His innovation and everything else about him is a whole different subject. But he has created such an amazing personal brand, so strong that all he has to do is say one thing with a tweet and he will change the economy's direction in the market. People will start moving things. Like he can do that with one tweet. That didn't come because he built Tesla. That came because he built a personal brand and then he had results. And that's one of the things I want you guys to kind of to leave with here is understanding what Shanee is sharing. When it says, why is your social media strategy not working? It's because you don't have one. And it's that simple. Let's leave them with one thing. What could they do, Shanee, to begin the process of creating a social media strategy? You have shared tons, but if we can give them a quick recap on what they could start doing right now, regardless of where they're at, what would we leave them with?
I would say implement a system where you take the top 20% of your clients and you're able to document questions that they have asked you. Take 30 questions and do 30 days of video.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And that's simple, folks.
There it is.
You don't want to take questions from clients that you don't want to repeat. So that's why taking the top 10 or 20% of client questions is important.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, so for those of you guys who are watching, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. I forgot to tell you this in the beginning, but do us a favor, drop a hashtag live if you've been watching live. If you're catching this on the replay, why don't you hit a hashtag replay on this? We would love for you to follow us. Donnie, do you got that queued? I don't know. I'm not in the same studio with you today. But if you do, let us know. Put it up there. But we want you to follow us here in our channel. We want you to follow Shanee. We want you to follow Lorianne. If you find value in what we shared with you today. Also, like Shanee talked about, one of the other ways of creating organic inbound lead traffic is our newsletter. We posted it and pinned it here in the chats. Take a look at it. The newsletter is great. It's a recap of the show every week. We give you the highlights, and then we give you the opportunity to check out the next week's episode and basically sign up for it right away. Shanee has got a great newsletter as well. We've got the content there. Find our speaker. We'll put her information in here as well. If you can't find it, you'll find it. 1.2 million. You just put in Shanee, okay? I'm lucky. Rigoberto, not a whole lot of Rigobertos out there. It's pretty easy to find me too. And this face is hard to miss. But listen, we are so glad that you were here with us today. Let's bring all the panel back. There you go, very much. I want to give you guys an opportunity for a final word. Shanee, do you want to leave our audience with something?
Just do it. I have people that, I had a woman contact me probably 6 months ago saying, hey, should I start going live this way? Contacts me the day, a couple days ago, still asking the same questions. The amount of progress that they could have had in 6 months is unprecedented compared to just thinking about it. So you really just have to take action. The only way to really learn is through practice.
Awesome. Lorianne?
And I would also add to that, get some sort of a habit tracker, something that you can actually did I go live today? And just check the box, so that, because a lot of times we think we're going live a lot or we're posting a lot, but when we really look at the data, numbers don't lie. So find something that it's fun, and find something that you can do as a reward after you go live, so that you actually enjoy getting to the other side of the live. Make it fun.
I love it. I
love that too.
Yeah, that's great. All right, you guys, listen, that's our show for today. If you got value out of this, let us know, okay? We want you to be a part of the community with us. We want you to continue to find value in what it is that we're bringing. This is the Contagious Leadership Podcast. I'm Rigo Murillo. Again, thank you guys so much for being here, and we will catch you all next week, same time, with our next show. You guys are in for treats, I promise you. We've been working hard on this. We wanted to end the year with a bang. Shanee was coming in to help us with that. We're starting the next year as well. We're calling it season 3 with the same bang, and we have an amazing lineup of guests that are going to be bringing tons of quality information to help you get through the challenges that you face, not just in your business life, but in your personal life as well. That's going to help you become stronger and better and more authentic in everything you do. God bless. I will talk to you guys next week. Donnie, get us out of here.